Hey, welcome to this episode of the Seven Freedoms Frequency podcast. It is Emotional Freedom Wednesday. Yay! And I want to talk about, well, first of all, emotions. I want to talk about the emotional scale for spiritual entrepreneurs. So I am Iona Meade. If you are new to me, I'm your host at the Soul Legacy TV, Spiritual Business Success with Iona. So today is Wednesday, Emotional Freedom Wednesday. And every single Wednesday, I talk about living an intentional life. And I come and I do my video journal with you, visualize, do all the things to help you raise your vibrational frequency, check in with you. So the Seven Freedoms Frequency podcast, if you are new, I go live daily at the Soul Legacy TV, Spiritual Business Success with Iona. So consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't. So this is a YouTube podcast. If you're watching on the Soul Legacy TV, I'm waving at you. If you are listening to this podcast on a podcast platform, subscribe, follow, and do share this out. So the way that this works, this spiritual business podcast, the spiritual entrepreneur, is for me to go live daily and for me to support you in living a more intentional life. That is what I want to do. That is what I teach my students to do in the Soul Legacy Academy. And that is how I have turned my content marketing, education marketing, relationship marketing into a framework for my spiritual business. And so I'm wearing my yellow t-shirt. It's sunshiny a little bit here in the UK, in London. And I just realized just before I came online, I was doing my journaling and doing notes, and I'll tell you, what we're going to cover today. And I was like, my motto is, and I'm going to have merch t-shirts, right? If it's not fun, I'm not doing it. That's one of my values. And I wanted to make business super fun. So I have been live already today at the Soul Legacy TV, Spiritual Business Success with Iona, doing my Spiritual Awakening annual YouTube summit. And the first episode launched today. I absolutely had a ball. I interviewed Ramona Miles, who is our lead soul guided instructor for the soullegacyacademy.com and the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Network. And so I wanted to have conversations in my business. I want to have a conversation with you. I want to have a conversation with fellow joint vision partners. I really wanted to make my business fun. And so we know, being a spiritual entrepreneur, light worker, service-based business owner, we have to find a way to get at, no, we don't have to, we want to find a way to have our message be out there and our movement and have it be in alignment. And so this is the way that I found, and I'm like, I'm just super ecstatic all of the time. I love my business. It never feels like work. There has been points in time where I've gone through my spiritual awakening and dark night of the soul and making sense of that and being on a complete emotional roller coaster. And as I have these conversations on the Soul Legacy TV with fellow soul guided influencers sharing their spiritual awakening story, it takes me back to the points where I have gone on this emotional roller coaster, and I was visualizing actually sharing with you my journey. And so we make it reality, that manifesting, and we know that emotions are at the core of manifesting, right? So I'll talk about the emotional scale and traveling up that emotional scale and going through a spiritual awakening. So my journal is called the Soul Legacy Journal because I'm the founder of the Soul Legacy Academy. And 365 days of your spiritual awakening story. So if you are someone who has watched or listened to the spiritual awakening stories, I share a little bit of how I came through my dark night of the soul, and like I'm wearing bright colors because it was so dark and now it's so bright. It's just beautiful. And so we want to travel up the emotional scale, right? So if you have a spiritual awakening story, or you're going through a spiritual awakening, you are using, this is the spiritual ascension tool that I use, journaling and visualization. It's just really, really beautiful. And then I've alchemized it and I'm giving it to you. So grab your journal if you don't have one. Let me know. Leave any comments. I think I can see. if you're watching live. And share this out. Do share this out. So this is for you at the Soul Legacy TV, and also for my students as well. So Emotional Freedom Wednesday. So in today's episode of the Seven Freedoms Frequency podcast, we're going to talk about the emotional scale and how we vibrate, how we're vibing. I'm quite a high vibe person, if you know, not always, but the majority of the time, that tipping point. So today, as always, the way that the format for the Seven Freedoms Frequency podcast works is we're going to rate our vibrational frequency. I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on that and give you instructions on how to do that. And you might be familiar with me, but for those who don't know, I want to support you. Second thing we're going to talk about is your vision board. We talked about this today on the interview with Ramona Miles, because Ramona's been through my vision board challenge. And in fact, intentional living, when I first did the intentional living, she was one of the first people to go through it then. She probably doesn't realize, but she went through it and it's evolved and it's up leveled now. And she was saying how useful and how valuable that is. And so I'll talk about that. I have a 7-day spiritual vision board for spiritual entrepreneurs who have a movement. And so when you get clear on your movement, you can raise your vibrational frequency. Third thing we're going to talk about today is gratitude, expressing gratitude for the past, present, or predicted future. Love this piece. It's all about raising our vibrational frequency, knowing where we are, and then raising our vibration. My voice is kind of a bit shaky because I've been talking all morning, and I've got another 2 interviews today on the 2 middle Wednesdays of the month, which I love. I just love. The fourth thing that we're going to talk about today is how you launch your day and leave your legacy. The next thing we're going to talk about is intentional living and implementing the next steps that you want to do to raise your vibration regarding emotions. So the Seven Freedom Frequency podcast, we talk about intentional living and the intentional living codes, I call them, and the cheers to financial freedom frequency, raising our vibration. And so it's like a cheers to life. And the acronym stands for contribution freedom, your purpose-led, life purpose-led driven business, and health freedom, and balancing that health and wealth, emotional freedom, the emotional scale on Wednesdays, Thursday, traveling while you teach and teaching online as a spiritual entrepreneur. Friday's relationship, soul family, and soul tribe impact. On Saturdays, is talking about soul guidance and ease, grace and flow, spiritual freedom Saturday, and financial freedom Sunday. And as I was on the interview today with Ramona, we were talking about financial freedom. So it was really quite a cool process. The sixth thing that we want to talk about, I'm laying this out for you so you know, so you stay with me to journal with me. And we're going to do the soul income game, banking 50K in 50 days. Yes. But we're going to do it vibrationally first. And I'm going to teach you how to do it in the physical world, how to set your business up to do it in the physical world. And then the seventh thing that we're going to talk about is the book that I was listening today. I'm going to go for a walk actually and listen to more of it. Is let me know if you know this book by Abraham Hicks and Jerry and Esther Hicks, The Astonishing Power of Emotions. I have listened to Abraham Hicks stuff for years, and I didn't even know how many books they had. So I often talk about Asking It Is Given. That's on my bookshelf. But The Astonishing Power of Emotions is a book that I dedicate myself on Wednesdays to listen to, or any other book that I recommend in the book club, in the Soul Legacy, in the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Network. We have a book club. So every month we come together and I will share what book I'm reading, what book you are reading, so you can recommend the books. And so that's the 8th thing, inviting you to the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Network, to the book club, and to come and co-create and collaborate and connect and have a conversation and continue on the conversations that we have at the Soul Legacy TV. So first things first is rate your vibrational frequency. If nobody's asked you, how are you feeling today? How are you doing? And leave a comment. Let me know how you're feeling. How are you doing? When we rate our vibrational frequency, we want to rate between a 1 and an 11. And then at the end of the week, on Sunday, on Financial Freedom Sunday, we add our ratings up. So we make it fun. We make our journaling process fun. So we want to add it up at the end of the week. So On Contribution Freedom Monday, my rating was, because I'm journaling with you, my rating was an 11. So yesterday was Health Freedom Tuesday, and I've written it in green pen. Normally I write it in the corresponding pen, so I was like a bit confused. It was it a 10? It was a 10, I believe. Yeah, 10. And today your girl is vibing high. I'm at 11. So how do we rate it? Like, how do you? So I like to say whether you feel like you're in soul funk or in soul flow. So soul funk or soul flow. And so soul flow is like being tuned with guidance, like following your guidance, and like the nudges, the signs, the synchronicities, like you know you're vibing high because everything just seems to be coming into your world and just clicking into place. Love that feeling. I do too. Not always are we in that vibe. We have contrast, right? So when we're vibrating a little bit lower, when we rate it lower and then we see, okay, well, what is going on in our external world? What's going on in our internal? And how can we adjust that? How can we adjust the internal to then manifest externally? So you might be familiar with the Wheel of Life. That lots of coaches use the Wheel of Life, and they segment their life into different areas. So the contribution, freedom, health, emotions, environment, relationships, spirituality, and finances are the 7 freedoms that I put on my soul legacy wheel. But the Wheel of Life, often people focus on, and they focus on the external, basically, and how fulfilled they feel with the external. So when you're focusing on the external and how you feel about the external, guess what? You get more of that. Like it's flawed. And so when we, and then they rate between a 1 and a 10, level 10 life. So I want to have a level 11 life. So we rate between a 1 and an 11. First of all, you don't get 0, like you're breathing. You get that for breathing. You don't get a 0 for life, right? And how fulfilled you feel in that area. Well, basically how you feel. And so we rate between a 1 and an 11. And on my soul legacy wheel, which I teach and I share in my vision board challenge, which I'll talk about in a second, I share that rating between a 1 and 11 and how you feel. And on the outer rim of this soul legacy wheel is a black, like semicircle, like a black outer rim. And that represents the dark night of the soul, the spiritual awakening. Because when we are in the world, right, we've manifested, we've come to this earthly plane. When we're looking at the physical world and we're rating how we feel, we get more of that. When we elevate and we know that we're not just this physical world, we're souls having a human experience, and we look at life through this lens of our soul, outer, gone through our awakening, then we look at the world like down, like we're looking at the world through the lens of our soul. And we know that external circumstances do not have to change for us to feel better and for us to manifest. And so we rate between a 1 and 11, and 11 is your North Star, your values that guide you on this earthly plane. So I love it. So I'm rating at an 11. I'm in alignment with my values. I'm showing up here for you, with you, doing this journaling process. So when you rate your vibration today and every single day as you tune into the 7 Freedoms Frequency podcast, we're going to add up your rating just to see how you're vibing from each week. So on Monday, when I rate my vibrational frequency, I rate it in relation to how I'm contributing in the world. Next Monday, I want to say, well, what's my contribution level now? Like, did it dip? Did it raise? What was going on in the external? What's going on in the internal? So it's 11 today. And so I want to know, okay, well, what is happening? How am I feeling? And what's happening in the external? What am I doing? What are my habits? What are my rituals? What are my routines? And how am I being? And then keep doing more of that. You know, when we're like vibing high and like we're doing the things, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, well, that's working, so we stop doing them. And then we go low vibration. And there's nothing wrong with low vibrational frequencies. It's fine. But then we wonder why. And it's like, because you just stop doing that. You stop thinking the way that made you feel good. You stop speaking the way that made you feel good. You stop just taking the actions. Like, for example, for the health freedom, we've got, I don't know, a health goal on our vision board, and we're eating right. We're going to bed at a certain time. We start off really amazing, and then we drop off and we start eating junk and crap, and we don't drink our water, and we don't go to bed, and we're up late at night, and we're doing all the most, and then we're like, I don't feel that good. Yeah, because you stopped doing what you knew worked for you, right? So we check in with our habits and our routines and our rituals, and we journal about them. So how do you feel? And so on the emotional scale, talking about the emotional scale for spiritual entrepreneurs, when you have a spiritual business and you go through a spiritual awakening, if you've been for a spiritual awakening, right? And you can comment down below with your rating if you want to. So you've got that. When we go for a spiritual awakening, oftentimes we dip in our emotions, right? Then we go on that emotional roller coaster. Ramona and I were talking about that on the interview where she was sharing about her spiritual awakening story, and that level of it feels like a depression. So the lower vibrational emotions, the feelings, on the Abraham Hicks emotional scale. There are other emotional scales. I like to use the Abraham Hicks one. There's 22 points on the emotional scale. I know that you probably know, but checking in on a Wednesday, and I'll tell you why in a second. So these emotional points, the highest vibration, which is the purpose of this Seven Freedoms Frequency podcast, is to vibrate at a higher frequency, right? As the collective, I vibrate higher, that impacts you. You vibrate higher, that impacts the collective, right? So at the highest frequency is freedom and love and joy and empowerment and appreciation and knowledge, right? And so I'm here by being high. And so when I don't do what I'm doing that I know that feels good, I vibrate at a low frequency, and the lower frequency, or life happens, it's a trigger. And so at the lower points, and there's many emotions in between. So how are you feeling today? And so at the lower frequency is fear, right? So when we're spiritual entrepreneurs and we have a fear of failure, fear of success, fear of selling, we actually know about manifesting, and we are actually awake, and we know about the law of attraction, but sometimes we can get a little bit stuck in the low vibrational frequencies and not actually realize that we are there. Like, we are here to birth light in the world, but we're vibrating at a low frequency, which doesn't feel good. Like fear of success, like we want to smash it because you're amazing. Fear of failure, like we're gonna fail along the way. At the Soul Legacy TV, Spiritual Business Success with Iona, I share my ups, my downs, my highs, my lows, my public fails, all the things. I will share it with you. Like, it's okay. For selling, like if you're not enrolling, like we don't want to have a sales conversation. I don't want to sell to you. But we want to enroll our students. We want to teach online. We want to get our work out in the world to many, many, many people. And Ramona was talking about this morning, about helping you with your tech stuff and creating mini courses and generating that traffic and growing your audience and your soul tribe with video and a mini course and all those things, so that we can serve more people. When you have a fear of selling, it's like, oh, well, we've got to find alternative ways that we feel in alignment. And I like enrolling. So I have a 5-day mini course. And it's funny because Ramona has a 5-day course. I have a 5-day course that goes with my book. And my next guest, Barbara, at 3:00 UK time, she has a 5-day course. And I'm not sure if my guest after that at 9 p.m. Actually, it's usually 9 p.m. It's 10:15 today. Well, she has a 5-day course, probably because we know what works. But I have it in alignment where it's a YouTube challenge, and then I have live Q&A, and I've built the business around it, and this is part of it as well. So when we have that fear of selling, we're actually vibrating at the lowest frequency. And as a spiritual entrepreneur, as a light worker, you're here to make a difference in the world, and you're here to build a spiritual business. If you don't have anybody coming into your business, and Ramona and I were talking about this again as well today, then you're going to have to go get a job. And that's not what you came to this earthly plane to do. So it's being in harmony with enrolling. And I teach on the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Masterclass, speaking, serving, and signing up via video, right? And coming and creating joint vision partnerships. I love it. It's just so beautiful. So we don't want to vibrate at a lower vibrational frequency. Is that like, are you good with that? So fear, grief, depression, powerlessness. I'm looking down at my notes in my journal. And being a victim is at the lower vibrational frequency. And it's not about blaming anyone. It's not about like feeling ashamed or anything like that. It's just noticing where you are. So the second thing that I want to journal with you on is vision boarding. Do you have a vision board? Ramona talked about my vision board challenge, my 7-day spiritual business vision board for spiritual entrepreneurs who have a movement. And it's more than just a vision board sticking. She said, well, I've done vision boarding before, but this is like, oh my gosh, like I went deeper. It's a free vision board challenge at the Soul Legacy TV, Spiritual Business Success with Iona. And I have a 2-hour monthly coaching call as an upgrade for my students. And I actually gift that 2-hour monthly coaching call to my boot campers and my masterminders. Why? Because I know that this intentional living and lifestyle, as you build your business, as you make a difference in the world, matters, right? And so my vision board, we go through each of these 7 areas in the Cheers to Financial Freedom frequency. So as we look at how you want to contribute and your health and your emotions, which is Wednesday, and your environmental freedom and relationship freedom and spiritual freedom and financial freedom, emotional freedom is in the middle. And this emotional scale really matters. And we check in the middle of the week, Wednesdays, and we look at, because although we're breaking your life down into the 7 freedoms frequency on this podcast for more life work balance for spiritual entrepreneurs, what we want to do is put our life back together again. So it doesn't happen just in isolation. So how do you feel about your contribution, right? On like, that's part of the emotional scale. How do you feel about your health? How do you feel about your environment? In this, are you in soul funk or in soul flow? How do you feel about your relationships? How do you feel about your spirituality and that connection source? And how do you feel about your finances? And notice that nothing external needs to change, just the way that you're thinking, speaking, and being and feeling around it, right? It's not the external world. I'm unsatisfied with that. It's changing the internal state of how do you feel about it? Now, I want to inject fun. I want to have my values be in alignment. So it's like, how do I feel about it? If I don't feel like it's fun to contribute, I'm going to make it fun. If I don't feel like my health is fun, I often do challenges. I'm doing the V-Shred challenge. It's 90 days. I usually do the insanity. And I go out and walk, and how do I feel about my food? I want to eat the food that I want to eat. And I'm 80% like eating clean and 20% I'm good. Like I'm a recovered perfectionist. I don't need every area of my life to be perfect. So how I feel about it is really good, because I know that it's a work in progress. How do I feel about my environment? I've moved my home. I've become a spiritual digital nomad, as Ramona teaches us, and Ramona's book will be about that as well. And I feel great. I feel in alignment with what is on my vision board, right? How do you feel about your relationships? I'm building the most epic relationships with the most epic people, and my existing relationships are growing and enhancing. And yesterday I got a call from my niece while I was live and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go. And it was Health Freedom Tuesday. And I rang her, and she was dealing with some health stuff. But it made me feel amazing, because she had flown out to Turkey, and she actually thought of me, or Auntie Ione, called me. She's like grown woman. I gave my car to her, and as like going on this journey to being a spiritual nomad, I gave stuff away, and And I feel really good about my relationships, you know, to get that phone call and I go, you just got there? And she's like, yeah, I'm just leaving the airport. And I was like to go to the hotel. I was like, oh, you know, it's just absolutely amazing, you know, when you have that impact. And she often, I'll try not to cry, she often says to me, oh my gosh, emotional freedom. Like, you know, when you're just so happy that it makes you cry when you're thinking about each area of your life. And she's like, she wrote me actually one of these cards. Was it this one? I won't read it all. Oh gosh, I've got mine. Is this it? Yeah, this was it. This is it. What did it say? When you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. How cool is that? Can you see that? So I gave my knee. I can't even. She said, thank you. Let me read a little bit. She's Auntie Noni because she calls me Auntie Noni. What can I say? You've blown me away with your kindness. I've never had anyone do anything like this for me before. I feel overwhelmed with gratitude. Yes. You've always been there for me, and I've known I can always count on you for anything. I love you so much, not just as an auntie, but as a friend. You mean the world to me. Okay, I guess I'm going to read it. You mean the world to me. I always think you're awesome, even when you're 80, 50. Go enjoy your life. Live for you. I'm proud of you. Love you always. Your little lady. Yeah, my little lady. Oh, wow. That's amazing, isn't it? You know, when you just get intuitively nudged to do the thing, like having my environment, like just be that place that just fuels me. So she rang me yesterday and I was like, dude, I'm on my live. And she's like, oh, were you really live? I said, yeah, it cut out. She's like, oh, really sorry. I was like, it's cool, it's you, it's good. And not that I want somebody to ring me today. I had someone ring me on Monday as well, on Contribution Freedom Monday. I'm like, no. But just having those, how do you feel about your relationships? Like, you know, just that warmth. And on the podcast, on the YouTube podcast on the Spiritual Awakening, Ramona made me cry. She didn't literally make me cry, but she's all the way out in Egypt. And, you know, we were talking about legacy, and she's talking about this challenge, the vision board challenge, and doing these things. And I was like, oh, you know, it just made me cry. It's just so beautiful, like crying, happy tears. And I had been fostering 3 children under 5, twins, my great niece and nephew. And my great niece said, Auntie Noni, I'm crying happy tears. I was like, oh. And then my daughter was like, Mom, she gets that from you. Like, what the heck? Happy tears. At 5, she's like, crying happy tears. Like, what a way to cry, like to teach, to pass that legacy down. All about legacy, all about being a role model, and just crying happy tears. Like, when's the last time that you cried happy tears? It's just beautiful. So how do you feel about your spirituality and your connection? Like, for me, you know, my niece's soul family, it's just amazing. So I talk about on Spiritual Freedom, that guidance. I talk about that guidance and that ease, grace, and flow. Do you feel in flow? Like, you know, just that's flow for me. You know, talking about yesterday, which looked like an interruption for my life, which was like a connection. Somebody was thinking of me. Yes, we want to be professional. Yes, we want to do all the things, but we actually, you know, want to have a life. And, you know, this is me showing up. Whatever happens, I'm going to share it in that moment. And so to have someone, you know, thousands of miles away and then be connected like that, it's just beautiful. That's soul guidance for me. That's soul guidance for me. And she's watching me. That's that legacy. Not only my daughter's watching me, Ramona and I were talking about that. You know, our family, our children, and then our extended. This is what this is for me. This is walking my own talk and living that and being that and having those beautiful words. It's just, you know, that's when my time is up on this earthly plane, I'll know, you know, that's it. You know, it's beautiful. As a founder of the Soul Legacy Academy, it's like walking my talk. So how do you feel about your finances? There was a time, so again, this story, and I brought that energy of that card in there. because there was a time years ago, many years ago. And first of all, when I had my daughter, this niece, she's now got her son. She went through a lot of stuff, fertility stuff, to have her son. And when I used to say, my daughter's 20, so she was little. So my niece is older, and I think she's like 30. And she used to see me being a mama first. And she said, you know, it's so beautiful, the relationship that you have with your daughter. And I would look down and my daughter would look up and we'd both say, I love you. And she said, I want that. And she has fought for that, to have that relationship with her son, to be a mama, just to be a mama. She just knew that that was part of her purpose. And so how you feel about your finances, when I left my ex-husband and I went through my awakening and all the things, there's a theme to it, homes and environments changing as I go through an awakening. I understand that. And I didn't have anything. And my niece came to me, she was young. And she came to me and she brought like a chunk of money, hundreds, in an envelope, and she tried to slip it to me. And I was like, no. She's like, can't you only take it? And I was like, oh, how can I ever like really repay that? She never expected anything. And you know, over the years you give to other people, like financially, or you're just there for them. And then as I was getting ready to like give everything away and be a digital nomad, I was like, who can I give my car to? And I was like looking down and I looked up and I was like, oh. And I said to her, I'd remembered her talking about, so that's why she was saying thank you. I remember her saying that she'd been taking lessons. This was like 20 before the lockdown. And I wasn't sure. And I was like, oh, do you have a car? She's like, no. I was like, do you want a car? She's like, what kind of car? How much is it? Whose is it? And I was like, mine, for free. And she's like, what? So she's saying thank you. So, and I felt really amazing about it. Like, it's years and years after. It wasn't a direct payment, but she just came into mine. Turns out that she'd been saving for her driving. Within less than 6 weeks, she actually, no, about 4 weeks, she actually passed a practical. And then 6 weeks, she passed the test without having like loads of experience. Prior to that, she took lessons and she started driving the car. And it's like, I didn't know, you've changed my life. And I was like, wow, I'm so happy. But when she did the card, she put like a wad of money in it. I was like, no, I wanted to just give you. And she literally, the financial rate, it just like, and as I was moving and I gave away, I could have sold lots of stuff and I didn't. And I gave it and it supported me. And I was like, oh, wow, thank you. I know to say thank you, right? And I'm learning that, and I've learned that along the way. So how do you feel about your finances? How do you feel about money? Does it come to you like, it just, like, I opened the card like this to just read it and I didn't expect it. So it was like just an abundance. It's just so beautiful when we don't hoard it. Like, it's just beautiful. I'll talk about more finances on Financial Freedom Sunday. So on the vision board that I have relationships and finances and my environment, traveling while I teach and feeling good. Do you feel good about being in service? Do you feel like you know where you are vibrating and where you dip if something triggers you, especially when you're going through a spiritual awakening? Do you know when you dip and you go down the emotional scale? And what I found over teaching on my call, on the 2-hour 7 Freedoms frequency call engine that I give my students, that usually, I don't know this for sure, I'm going to like test it and keep testing it. Let me know if this resonates with you, and I'll talk about it every single Wednesday on the 7 Freedoms frequency podcast. That when you are vibrating at these emotional points, when something triggers you, I've noticed this for like overwhelm. When someone's feeling overwhelmed, or when even I'm feeling overwhelmed, that is the thing that triggers you to go down the emotional scale. And then you'll come in at a different point where you're being hopeful or more optimistic. There's patterns that are there for whatever it is internally to be released. So there's a pattern, there's a trigger. I'm overwhelmed, boom, come down the emotional scale. Or I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic. Where is the common pattern for you? In which area of your life? Is it one or is it more areas of your life? Like, and let's talk about it on the 7 Freedoms frequency call in gym. If you are watching this in the Soul Legacy Academy, I'd love to support you. So the third thing that I want to talk about today on the Seven Freedoms Frequency podcast is the part gratitude. And where is it? Oh gosh, where is it? It's over there, and I can't go and get it. I have a gratitude stone. If I go and get it, hang on, just stay there. Can I reach it? No, I can't. Hang on. Yes, I can. Yay! Gratitude stone. Hang on, probably messed up my sound, and I didn't do the chakras today. So as you do, this is me. So chakras. Oh, I don't even know which one it is for emotional freedom. Robin is not here to tell me. That was a chakra. I have my chakra stone for today because I've been doing my live. I haven't done all of my morning routine, but I did pull a card for today, so I'll share with you what card I have. So this is a love heart that I have as my gratitude rock. If you're familiar with The Secret, you'll know. And if you're familiar with The Secret movie and the book, then you know about gratitude. So we express gratitude. And so my daughter gave me this, and I hold on to it, and I express my gratitude. And what I'd love to do is invite you to do gratitude with me. So I call it soul speaking into existence. You can write it down as well if you want to. Write it down at night. You don't have to do it with me all the time. But, sometimes we drop off the rituals and routines that really make a difference. And so the way that I do gratitude, and you might do it differently, let me know how you do it. I say that I'm happy and I'm grateful and I appreciate. Now we know that one of the highest vibrations is appreciation and love and joy and etc. I say I'm happy and I'm grateful and I appreciate. And I want to express gratitude for something in the past, or something in the present, or something in the predicted future, because we're visualizing, right? So there's no point do you get out of expressing gratitude. And I shared that yesterday, that there was a point where I was like, I don't feel like I can actually say it. After my son passed, I came offline for like 3.5 years to help and heal myself first. And I was like, I'd done gratitude for years with my children, since 2008-9. And it was 2015, and I was like, I literally, it would make me cry, and I just could not bring myself to say gratitude. And obviously, we know that we're going down the emotional scale. I was going through a spiritual awakening that no mama wants to go through, and vibrating at the frequency of grief, which is quite rightly so. It's not avoiding the lower vibrations, but that's where I was, and I couldn't see a way to feel really truly grateful. Like I would have been able to maybe say it, but really feeling it and that appreciation. And in the end, I would turn around and say, and I want to actually say this now, is that I'm happy and I'm grateful and I appreciate being able to speak with you today, because there was a point there where I just couldn't even see it. And that's my level of contribution. So I'm happy and grateful and appreciate that I'm able to contribute in the world and find meaning and purpose to be able to serve you. So when we're talking about gratitude, we want to go to the 7 freedoms frequency, all of the freedoms. So contribution is the C for the acronym, the Cheers to Financial Freedom frequency. So C, H is for health, E is for emotions, E is for environment, relationships for R, S for spirituality, and F for financial freedom. So when I think of my contribution, I came offline, right? So I'm happy and I'm grateful and I appreciate that I was able to follow that guidance so I could come back online and serve. I'm happy and grateful and I appreciate that I'm here and I've made it to like the age of 50 and I'm in good health. I'm happy and I'm grateful and I appreciate my emotional scale. I was talking about this a little bit, from moving from the low vibration, what we do, what we're able to do, and the tools that we use, which this is one of the tools, we're able to give back. And so moving from the vibration of grief to the vibration of love and freedom and joy and appreciation and now knowledge and empowerment was massive for me. I've had a lot of losses. There was a lot of my spiritual awakening. So I was at that grief for a long time. And so it's not that grief doesn't come up and show up, but now I'm volunteering for an organization, a charity called the Compassionate Friends for bereaved parents. And so I didn't get that help when I needed it the most. This charity helped parents like in the early stages. I had to wait 6 months, and then I did get some help from Cruise Bereavement Care, which I support financially as well. And I have a page, a much loved page dedicated to my son. And so I'm happy and I'm grateful. And I appreciate my emotions and being able to travel up the emotional scale and not being locked down at those heavier vibrations. So I'm happy and grateful. And I appreciate my environment, that online environment, the online space and the community. And I'm happy and grateful and appreciate relationships. So Alice was on the live today, really adding her energy in there. So I'm so excited. And Alice was just sharing her energy, and that's just another relationship building where I get to contribute, but also build authentic relationships. I'm really happy and grateful and appreciate my spiritual connection, and having that, able to share it with you. Hopefully I'm good. And the video just went on and off, so thank you to my son. All right, acknowledging. Okay. And so okay, the spiritual, I'm happy and grateful for the spiritual guidance. So the sign, that flash reminded me of the sign. So Ramona, when I woke up, she's ahead of me. The times that she's ahead of me, she's in Egypt. And when I woke up, I saw that the attendees group for the Spiritual Awakening Annual YouTube Summit on Facebook, she screenshotted it at 11:11. There was 1,111 members. No, not 1,100 yet. 111 members. I'm like, yes. I'd gone to bed thinking, I'm going to miss the 11:11, or can we get to 11:11? And I remember being interviewed when I'd done my summit, the #1 Divine Intervention virtual event, and that guidance, right? And that's connected to my son. I won't talk about it now. And then I'll talk about it on Spiritual Freedom Saturday. And then I was being interviewed when I came back online to do Gifted to Shine, my telechat show, where I first introduced the Cheers to Financial Freedom frequency. And that group had gone to 11:11, and so had the lady that was interviewing me, that had gone to 11:11. I was like, oh, what? 111. I'm like, yay! That happened today. Also, at the Soul Legacy TV, Spiritual Business Success with Iona, the YouTube channel is a relatively young, small channel, and that hit 333 subscribers. So if you're a new subscriber, yay! Thank you for being a subscriber. I'm really happy about building those relationships. So I'm really happy and grateful and appreciate financial freedom in the sense of, the money that I had in that card. Like, it just popped up. I've got a good relationship with money. I didn't have to let things go, and things flowed in. So I'm happy and grateful. So hopefully that helps you with your vibration. I'm just moving all of my chakras so I can actually see my journal, right? So the next part that I want to go into is a practical part in your journaling process, and that is launching your day, living intentionally and implementing how you launch your day, how you lead your day, and how you leave your day. That is your soul legacy. As a founder of the Soul Legacy Academy.com, host of the Soul Legacy movement, right, and the Soul Legacy TV, that is why I'm here. To share with you. It goes beyond a morning routine or a nighttime routine or a daily routine. We put them all together, and how you launch your day, lead your day, and leave your day is your legacy every single day. So I asked my guests, I asked Ramona today, what's the legacy that you really want to leave? And this is it for me. So how did you launch your day today? How did you feel about launching your day today? Were you excited about getting out of bed? How are you leading your day? How do you feel about it? And how are you going to leave your day? How did you leave your day yesterday and the day before that and the day before that? Were you high vibing? Like, what emotions were you feeling? And how can you what are you going to put into place to make your day 444, yay, that to make your day feel more amazing every single day. So the next steps is to commit to writing 3 things down to make your day, like how you launch your day and how you lead your day, in alignment with your values. For me, I want to make it fun. Like when I get up in the morning, I want to do my soul work. That's fun for me. Like other people like, what, really? No matter what time I wake up. And so I woke up this morning, how I launched my day. I was thinking about the summit. I was like, do you know what? I've done close to 130 interviews and I was not like super prepared or scripted. I was like laying out the format a little bit last night and listening over the last few weeks. I'm kind of like, yeah, this is kind of what I want to say. It's been in the making. I've been visualizing for years and years, right? And done things that I've practiced for now. And so I was like, this is it. This is really it. This is the thing that's on my vision board. Like, this is the 7 seasons of the Soul Legacy, of the Spiritual Awakening annual YouTube Summit. I've scheduled it out for 7 years. This is it. And I'm like, yes. And I'm like, I should feel like super excited. I just felt normal. I was like, oh, okay, I'll just write this down. But I was excited. And Ramona was excited. And I thought, oh, gosh, when are the nerves going to kick in? And at the point where Ramona was in it and her internet was dropping out because she's in Egypt and I'm in the UK. And I was like, oh, gosh, and I was like praying, just feel good in this moment. And it just went beautifully. So how I launched my day was like really excited. How I'm leading my day is now I'm going to go out for a walk in nature and how I'm going to leave my day. And it is. And I keep thinking, well, what am I going to do at the end of my day? I probably will read a little bit of Think and Grow Rich and pull in meditation, the chakra meditation, to end my day more productively. Because as I'm like thinking, I'm like, yeah, how do I leave my day? It's not the ideal day, but I'm giving myself grace. So what 3 things are you going to implement? Tapping. It's one of the things that I love to do for releasing the emotions. So I've done my affirmations this morning. I've done my morning routine. I've done my visualization. And I haven't looked at my vision board, actually. I haven't played that today. But yeah, what are you going to commit to make your fun between now and next Wednesday to make launching your day more fun, like emotionally, make it feel good, like vibrate that love, appreciation, joy, empowerment, like now. Let me just have a sip of water before we go into the next step. That was step 5 or section 5. So the next piece is we're going to play the soul income game. Yay! How do you feel about money? Ramona and I had a conversation. She was like, oh, like that energy exchange, it's a thing. It's a thing for us as spiritual entrepreneurs, right? That emotional scale. And I discovered on the Millionaire Mind Intensive that my money personality is a money monk. I was explaining to Ramona, like, oh, how do you feel about money? I had to get in alignment with it and not working hard. Ramona and I were talking about this as well. Like, we want to work with ease, grace, and flow. We want to reach so many people. So how do we feel about it? Like, how do you feel about money? I wanted to make it fun. So the soul income game is where we bank 50K in 50 days. 50 days of journaling with me. We're banking 50K in 50 days. You're like, what is she talking about? So the Soul Legacy Journal is a magical journal. And I say that it's 365 days of your spiritual awakening story, including around money, right? And so I say it's a co-created soul path to spiritual alchemy for light workers. So the way that the game works, we've got a couple of rules. So the first rule is you type 10%. So the Soul Legacy Journal gives you £1,000, dollars, or euros every single day. And Ramona said that she'd done a version of this and spent like millions with another coach. I don't know who it was that had taught this. I got the inspiration from Asking It Is Given and also from the Prosperity Consciousness from Frederick Lerman. So this is the way that I do it. And so we spend this vibrational money, £1,000, dollars, or euros every single day or wherever you are, right? And the rule is we type 10% to a worthy cause. My worthy cause is compassionate friends. So I'm tithing my time, money, and energy as a volunteer. But if you want to, donate to that worthy cause, you can. Some people go, well, I don't know where the money's going. So I will be doing a volunteer group for bereaved parents online. So if you don't have that Wavy code, you can donate to that if you choose to. I also have Much Love, where I have that donation as well. So for Cruise Bereavement Care, that's something I'd been through a lot of losses, and I wanted to turn that around. So we tithe 10% every single day, without fail. We write that down in our journal. Like, where would you actually go to the place that you would actually like energetically, right? And then with the rest of the money, the 900, we want to look at our vision board and say, what do you want to purchase today? On the vision board, you don't have to spend the physical money, but you spend it. It's like, who will you become with that money? You know, like the beliefs around money and the energy and the blocks around it. The Seven Freedoms Frequency podcast, ooh, my belly, and the Cheers to Financial Freedom Frequency is about raising your vibration around your contribution. So if you have those finances, what would you be purchasing? What would you be purchasing for your health? What would you be purchasing for your around your emotions? What would you be purchasing around your environment? What would you be purchasing for your relationships, date nights, meals? You know, I've been treated to meals and all sorts, and I'm like, yeah, I want to give back. It's like, it's not about just taking. You know, would you be buying more cars? Your spiritual connection, you know, and your finances, what would you be investing in? Now, we don't get to pay bills because they're already taken care of. We want to come from the energy that they're taken care of. So this is play money. And we want to come from the energy of bills are paid, we're tithing, and we're not saving, we're not hoarding this money. You can carry over the money to the next day if you want to make a bigger purchase. But by the end of the week, on Financial Freedom Sunday, which I will spend my vibrational money voucher on the Daily Lives and share with you what I've purchased for that week. And then as we do the vision board challenge, it's annual. There's a replays for the free vision board challenge. It's a 7-day challenge. I do it live annually on the second week in December at 7:30 p.m. UK time, Monday to Sunday. When we start to do this vision board, we'll look back at our vision board and say thank you to the universe for all things that have manifested as a collective energy, as a vision board. This is holding you accountable to being in vibrational alignment, money as well. And so playing the soul income game, then energetically, vibrationally, you don't have that like, oh, I don't have money, I don't have time, we actually go out and spend our vibrational money on our vision board. You're welcome. So come back annually. And if you haven't seen that 7-day spiritual vision board challenge at the Soul Legacy TV, then you can see it. I've got a playlist around it. And again, there's replays. It's completely free. There's resources, there's homework. And if you want to come and get coaching around it, I have a 2-hour monthly coaching call. Next thing is the book for today. So the book, I just wrote like a really little quote. So again, the book that I read or listened to for today, and I'm going to go out and listen to more, just a snippet. I was writing in my Think and Grow Rich. Hello. And I did all my successes and my affirmations, you go. And actions. So the book was The Astonishing Power of Emotions. Let Your Feelings Be Your Guide by Jerry and Esther Hicks, right? So they dedicated the book to Louise Hay. Now, if you don't know Louise Hay, I'm sure you know Louise Hay, right? Hay House Publishing, Hay House Summit, Hay House Radio. There's so many influencers that have come under the Hay House brand, right? And so they dedicate the book to her for, you know, putting so much positivity in the world. I've learned a lot from Louise Hay. I was saying yesterday, I was listening to You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. Louise Hay, the late Louise Hay. So she's still got that legacy. I'm listening to her books. So when you write your books, not only are they on people's bookshelf, but they can hear your voice, your words. I love it. As part of what I do in the Soul Legacy Launch Blueprint is teaching you how to write your book and how to launch it around your spiritual business and your spiritual business YouTube channel. It's just amazing. And they said that they credit her for probably being one of the people that have added the most to the self-development industry, really. And so the story was from Jerry. He was saying that Esther and Jerry had published books over like 20 years, more than 20 years. And at the point where they published this particular book, Esther said, "This is a great book." And Jerry was like, "Yeah, because usually you ask me, what do I think about this book?" She's like, "This is a great book." And he said, when people come across their work and come across this particular book, you might think that it's oversimplified or overcomplicated. And so, like, some people might think, oh, this is overcomplicated or it's oversimplified or what have you. You can't please everyone, and people start from where they are and they go through your work, or they don't, or they listen to your book or read your book, or they don't. It resonates with some people. And he said it's a simple way, in a practical way, to use it to create more of what you want or to become more of who you are. That was just the opening of the book, and I wanted to stop there because I want to go on my daily walk. So, and then I'll listen to more of the book. So that's helping me, like, as an author, listen to and read other people's books. And I'm a co-author of 3 of these books on my bookshelf. I want to be in the space where we're now taking people off the page and into our world, into our work, and using that as our marketing. And then in as a companion to our books, journaling. So the Soul Legacy Journal is just a magical journal. So I have a card that I pulled for today, and then I will leave you with the Spiritual Business YouTubers Network. So this was the card for today. You see it? Mercury, open communication. Was this today? Was this yesterday? Was this today or was this yesterday? Yeah, today. I think. I think so. I pulled it early this morning. I did, yeah. Open communication. Yeah, it was first thing. Get a weight off your chest, speak up with love, and be heard. So that was the summit today. That, yeah, get a weight off my chest and speak up and be heard. Speak up with love, right? I often speak up with tough love, but it's the love and be heard. Love that. That's from Kyle Gray, Keepers of the Light. Excuse me. So I want to close this episode of the 7 Freedoms Frequency podcast. And thank you for listening to me for this long and journaling along with me. And I want to invite you to SBYN, which is the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Network, which I'm the producer of. And so that we have a monthly call on the last Monday of the month. It's a free networking call to network with people that get it. So Ramona and I were talking on the Spiritual Awakening annual YouTube summit. We were saying, like, not having those people, like, oh, you get it. And we had like private talks in the green room, and it's like, you get it. I'm like, yeah, we get it, you know, with the talks that we were talking about. So it's a space for you to come and connect and co-create and collaborate and cross-promote with like-minded spiritual entrepreneurs who have a movement, who have a YouTube podcast, and who have a movement inside of them. The call is specifically for spiritual entrepreneurs who have a YouTube channel, want to start a podcast, or have already started a podcast, so that we can create a community of online collaboration. So far, when I was doing the Spiritual Businesswoman Network, a lot of people joined that. And so far, this has not got the momentum that I would love. I haven't really put it out there that much. But I really do believe it's because we're hiding behind closed doors, not being visible. There's fear. So, you know, if you are fearful and you're like, yeah, I'm not doing that, then, you know, why have you come onto this earthly plane? You've chosen to incarnate here on this earthly plane with a big vision and mission. And Ramona talks about, you know, being visible on video and using video to grow your audience, because video, if you haven't noticed, is on every single platform. I'm just saying. And why would you just do a podcast? Because podcasts are so popular. I was doing lives in Google Hangouts before Facebook Lives came out, and then podcasts kind of got popular, and everybody wants to do a podcast, right? But when you do a YouTube channel, you can reach the people that are actually searching for what it is that you have to offer. And it's just really, really special. So I love it. So that is it for my power hour for the 7 Freedoms Frequency podcast. Again, I'm Iona Meade, founder of the Soul Legacy Academy.com. If you enjoyed playing the Bank 50K in 50 Days challenge with me, come to the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Masterclass, where I teach you how to bank 50K in 50 days for real in the visible world. creating a business that gives you that alignment and that automation. So I'm super excited about that. I will teach you how to speak to, serve, and sign up your high-paying soul clients, one-to-many soul clients, via video. All right, I shall speak to you soon. Love you. Mwah. Take care.